Hello, business building warrior. If you're listening to this episode near the time when it first came out, hey, it's the weekend. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. And to help you make your weekend even more impactful for your business, we've compiled some great information from some recent conversations we've had with students in our community who are actively trying to build beautiful businesses through e commerce. That's right. This is a podcast that's all about using the internet creatively to launch and grow the business of your dreams. And hundreds of our interview episodes, if you scroll back in time, are with the students who have followed our proven Amazon course strategies to do just that. They've built a beautiful business, and we talked to them about the road that they were on to get to that point. So you can go back and listen to some of those episodes if you'd like, scroll back in time. But today, what I have for you is, like I said, recent conversations with students from our community who are at all levels of experience. Because what we do every Monday around here, around 5 o'clock Eastern time, we've been doing it for a long time, is we go live on Zoom and anyone can join in and ask us anything about their business, about e-commerce, about our community, about our coaching program, about our courses, or about some challenges they're facing in their business. So these Saturday episodes are a nice random mix up of conversational topics. We've done our best to break down a little bit about what you're about to experience in the description for today's episode. So you can check that out if you'd like. But it's going to be some really good people, some of your fellow business building warriors hopping on a live call with us, hanging out and having conversations with us. Most of our Saturday episodes, that's what we do. It's that recent recording. You'll also hear from time to time an older episode that we've revisited, pulled out some really good nuggets of information and broken it down into bite-sized pieces so you can take it along with you on the weekend, enjoy whatever it is that you're doing on Saturday or over the rest of the weekend, and then be ready to hit the week with some new energy and ideas and motivation because you hung out with your friends at Silent Sales Machine Radio and listened to some good inspiration. So thanks for being the best part of our show. We're honored that you spend some time listening to our show each week. And if you want to leave us a review, we'd certainly appreciate that. We'll jump over into the content in just a moment, but we love those iTunes 5-star reviews. We love those likes and those comments, all that stuff. It's so great. It helps us spread the word. We have no marketing budget for this show. It's all about you spreading the word. And we recently flew past 6 million downloads on iTunes alone because you do such a great job of telling others about silentjim.com. That's all you got to do. Soon there, say, hey, these guys know their stuff when it comes to e-commerce and selling online and Amazon. Go check out some of those shows. We appreciate when you do that. Thank you so much for that. Well, let's jump over and see what the team's put together for us today. Okay, here we go. You're in the right place. Good evening and welcome. Today is Monday, June 3rd, and the business building warriors of the My Silent Team Facebook group are jumping in to hang out, whoever's available, talk about e-commerce, talk about Amazon, whatever's on your mind. Great to see you all here this evening. This is our Monday night meetup. I'll tell you what we do each Monday here. If there's someone new, we got a lot of new folks joined us this week, and this might also be a podcast episode as well. We like to record these Monday night meetings and then use the questions that you guys ask us as podcast content later. So that's what we do on Mondays around here: is just gather, answer e-commerce, Amazon questions, and I'm going to do a little bit of what we've come to call around here the Jim Fomercial portion of our evening, and then I'll introduce a good friend of mine, and she'll be joining us here as well, and we'll just get into your questions. My name is Jim, like I said, and this Facebook group just recently crossed about 75,000 people, and it is a group committed to helping you learn to use the internet creatively to launch and grow multiple streams of income. We love a focus on Amazon because Amazon is where about half of all economic activity online takes place any given day. It's the big opportunity of our lifetimes as far as e-commerce goes. So we start you there. There's about a dozen different business models we teach on Amazon, but we start all new sellers at the same place. And a lot of times that's what we wind up talking about on these Monday night discussions is this strategy called replens, which is a strategy that was birthed out of this community several years ago. It's become very popular. And I think that the most succinct way to describe it is to say you help identify and fill the underserved shelf space at Amazon, and you do it profitably. It's a great business model. We have many people who stay right there and build multiple seven-figure businesses doing just that. Many others who put a few extra $1,000s a month in the bank doing just that part-time. But that is the base foundational business model around here. From there, there's many other opportunities that open up to you, including I did a podcast episode just earlier today, talking about branded bundles. And you can get into wholesale, you can get into launching your own product. So many opportunities out there to take advantage of Amazon. And that's just Amazon. We love Walmart, we love eBay, so many other good opportunities out there. But Monday nights are wide open to discuss whatever it is you want to talk about. I'll wrap up the introduction comments with this. If you're brand new around here, we strongly suggest you get into the Proven Amazon course. We can say that proudly and boldly now because we've helped thousands of students launch businesses with the training in that course. Hundreds of them you can hear interviewed on our podcast. There's a link at silentjimdotcom to that, and you can hear those interviews. But right now, tonight, we're here live. And I've got my good friend, Robin Joy Olson. She's here.
Glad to be here. I see somebody's anxious for the Kickstart class that's starting tonight.
Oh, yeah, let's fill people in. I didn't
Yeah.
mention that. Tell everyone what Kickstart is about.
So if you're a member of the Proven Amazon course, you can get into the Kickstart program, which I'm usually the coach that's instructing in that group. It's a 4-week class where we take you from, I don't know how to even get started on the Amazon platform. We help you open your account. We help you find something to sell. We're going to take you through this process one time, kind of do one rep through so you understand kind of what things are involved in getting something sent to Amazon. So we get your account open, get your Keepa account open. Then we help you find something to send into Amazon's FBA. What things are okay to send, what things that, you have questions about, we answer those. Find something, just one thing in this rep, and then we'll show you how to prep that item, make a shipping plan, and send it to Amazon. And then we're going to talk about how you can use that one rep and build it into a foundation of a predictable book of business. So four live sessions like this in Zoom with me during that class time as well. During that 4 time, it's once a week.
Just a one-time charge of $37, and it's a
Yes.
great way to get started. Yeah, we're very proud of the results we're seeing with Kickstart. We've seen many successful students. We've been doing it long enough now. We've had many podcast episodes where people are starting to say, yeah, way back when I got started with Kickstart, that's part of their introduction story now. We love seeing that happen. So yeah, you do such a great job with that, and I appreciate your help with that, Robin Joy.
We have a question in the chat. You want me to read it to you? Hi, I have a question. We sent our second box to Amazon on 5/30, and the box is not in Amazon yet, but someone bought one of our ASINs, and the delivery date that the person is going to receive the product is around June 26th. We are new sellers, and we don't know if we have to turn off something in Seller Central. Any advice, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, what's the name of that program, Robin Joy? I can never remember the name of it.
It's the In-Stock Head Start program.
In-Stock Head Start, that's it. Well, yeah, and I know you know what that is too. So why don't you take this one, and I'll see if there's anything else popping in here.
Okay. So in this case, Amazon has what we were just talking about, the In-Stock Head Start program, and you can do a search in Seller Central to find out more about that program. There is a way that you can opt out of it if you want to. But what that does is Amazon sees your inventory that's on its way. They need that. That gives you a good idea that they need your inventory for that ASIN, and someone's wanting to buy it. So they're going to go ahead and promise them the correct delivery date. Amazon will take responsibility for that delivery date and tell the customer that they'll get it on, in this case, maybe June 26th. Customer says, okay, that's all right with me. They purchase it and they wait for it to get received and go through the process and then get to them. It's perfectly normal. It happens all the time. Don't let it scare you. But you just made a sale. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
That's great. Yeah, it sounds like maybe even their first sale. And that also explains too that inventory head start thing where you'll see sometimes prime delivery dates way in the future. Like I'm maybe you're ordering something for yourself and you're looking for the best delivery date and it's like 2 weeks from now, even though it's Prime. You're like, I thought Prime was supposed to be 2 days. Well, they're selling you stuff that's on the way to the warehouse. And they know by the time they get it and inspect it and check it in, it's going to take a little bit of time. So they put that date way out there. It's usually a very conservative date, and they deliver it well before that. But yeah, that's for inventory that hasn't arrived yet. Nothing to be afraid of. But that is an indication that you've hopped on a pretty smoking ASIN. Typically, if they're having a hard time getting the stuff in and getting it out the door, I like to see
I do
those
too.
extended Prime dates. Good stuff. Well, for those just joining, the floor is yours. If you got a question, you want to run something past us, an observation, maybe you attended the event. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Any feedback, feel free to speak openly. We will record. We're recording this tonight. We will use some of it as a podcast episode, of course, but I'm open to suggestions even about the conference or whatever's on your mind tonight. Those of you who were able to attend, man, it was a powerful event, and it's one of those things where you kind of had to be there to experience it to be able to put it into words. And until you do, you just can't do it justice. So instead of struggling for the words, I just like, you got to come. If you haven't been, you got to come.
Yeah,
It just
I
it
agree.
makes this group feel like family, doesn't it? And yeah, just
Such great energy.
yeah, it really
Really.
is. I learn so much every year. I go as a student. I used to go as the guy who was kind of nervous, hoping it went off okay. Last few years, I've been going as a student, just sitting in, learning, listening. There's so much. And with 50 breakout sessions, I mean, my goodness, I've listened to. This would be a good question. How many sessions have you attended slash listened to if you went? I went to 3 sessions while we were there, and I've listened to 4 more. So 7 of the 48 I've had a chance to check out so far. But that's just the reality of this thing.
We have another question, Jim, if you want to answer another one.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I got this. I'll
Yeah.
read it out,
All
and
right.
one of us will take it. Is this the watching Jim's Keepa
Yeah.
searches? It appears you primarily base it on velocity. Are you taking into account offers and pricing it when pricing it above buy box? Yeah, so I'm going to need to set that question up a little bit. I love the above buy box topic. That's a favorite for me. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, I'm going to give you a couple links and we'll drop them in the chat as well. But if you go to silentjimdotcom slash BB70, as in buy box, BB70, you're going to see about 180 examples from my Amazon selling account of ASINs that are selling above buy box. I show you a Keepa graph and I tell you how we made the decision to hop on that listing. I think it's helped a lot of people start to dial in what it means to sell above buy box, what we're looking for. Not that I've perfected it. There's always more to learn, but man, there are some great low hanging fruit out there. And we've recorded a few podcast episodes about it as well. I think I linked to it on the BB70 page. So if you just go to that link, it takes you to a Facebook discussion with a bunch of links, some resources on that topic, how to search for these ASINs. But the question is, am I considering the number of people who are selling, that's the number of offers on that ASIN, when I'm looking at maybe selling it above buy box? Yes and no. I'm looking at how many FBA sellers there are sometimes. But we heard from a seller, just a student in our community just last week, that illustrated something beautifully. She doesn't use Keepa at all. She's doing the above buy box strategy successfully without Keepa. And at first I thought, "Now, how in the world is she doing that?" But she explained in the post, she's just looking at what Amazon says. Hey, this thing sells 5,000 times a month. So you find some of those hot selling ASINs that are selling really fast. She doesn't care how many other sellers are on it. She understands. And once this is the thought that has to sink into your mind for buy box, above selling above buy box to make any sense at all. She understands that Amazon is not one central warehouse where everyone goes to price sensitively shop and find the best deals. A lot of sellers see Amazon as that. This new student understands that's not what Amazon is at all. Amazon's hundreds of warehouses spread out all over the country. And while a lot of people any given day are looking for the best deals, a lot of people are also looking for the fastest delivery time. So if you hop on some of the fastest moving ASINs, some of those hottest sellers, regardless of how many other sellers there are, if you send in a few units, odds are, and you price it high, odds are you're going to wind up sitting in a warehouse that's underserved because Amazon distributes the inventory pretty evenly across the country. Your little piece of inventory is going to be sitting in some warehouse in a zip code near a whole bunch of people. And if any of those people want that thing fast, you're the only 2 hour option or 4 hour option or delivered by to your front porch by 10 a.m. tomorrow. You're the only option that gets it to them fast. Now, you certainly could have the same price as all the other sellers down on the buy box, and you would never even know that someone just got a great deal on a super fast delivery. But if you price it high, there's a really good chance, especially if it's a fast mover, regardless of how many other sellers there are, good chance it's going to get out there. So, does this mean go buy a bunch of stuff that's selling fast and just price it high? No, you want to do some other research.
Then you have some follow-up on this. Regarding the ignore the buy box strategy, how much weight would you give to initial reactions? Example, would anyone pay more for a hammer? I know I wouldn't pay a premium for something that is so readily acquired. What do you think, Jim?
Oh, yeah, we see people needing super fast delivery in all kinds of items. It's really, the and I really spell it out on that post that we've talked about, silentjimdotcom/BB70. There's a whole course inside the Proven Amazon course that really steps in and spells this out. But I haven't held anything back in that post either. If you're familiar with replens and Amazon selling, that post will be very helpful. But if it's got decent velocity, and especially if it's lacking FBA sellers, which means there's not a lot of inventory
Mhm.
sitting in Amazon's warehouses, you can price pretty high and do pretty
Yeah.
well. Now, I'm only doing it a few units at a time. And if we start to go 4 to 6 weeks or so and we haven't made a sale, we'll drop the price down. Some people start dropping the price sooner than that. There's a handful of good lessons that you need to learn as a new seller. There's a handful of mistakes we got to steer you away from. And there's a handful of visuals we got to create in your head. One of those visuals is you're looking for good ASINs, not good products. Once you kind of understand that, uh, and another visual is Amazon is not one central warehouse where everyone goes to price sensitively shop. It's just not. It's not like everyone in your town goes to Walmart, and if the same item's sitting on the shelf and it costs $5 right here and it costs $10 right here, well, who's crazy enough to pay 10? Some people think of Amazon that way. That's not what Amazon is. It's warehouses spread out all over the country. And that $10 unit is sitting in LA and the $5 unit is sitting in Chicago. Someone in LA who wants it fast, they don't want to wait 3 days for it to get there from Chicago. They want it today by 4 p.m. Their only option is the $10 unit sitting in a warehouse near them. So once you understand this dispersed warehouse uh, arrangement that Amazon is, it should start to open up your eyes to the possibilities of pricing high and spreading your inventory out in small quantities across multiple warehouses. People often ask me, Robin Joy, is this something you can control as a seller? And while it's not right now, Amazon decides where your inventory goes for the most part. I do see a day coming where Amazon lets us kind of get a peek into the curtain of, hey, where do you want your inventory to go? Do you want it to go to zone one, which is pretty inexpensive for you, or spread out into warehouses where we lack inventory? It costs you a little more, but you can spread it out a little bit. Like that would be great. Help us fill again. And this is Amazon's core mission is get people what they need when they need it as quickly as possible, as lowest price as possible. I'm seeing who wants to be
No.
brave and strike up a conversation.
Oh, here we go. One. Does the testing in quotation marks of a product start as soon as the inventory is in receiving, or when would be a good time to start keeping track?
Hmm.
I know we teach people in our workshop to start keeping track when the item becomes available in your available column in your manage all inventory. Before that, it's in receiving, it hasn't been received yet, or it's being transferred between warehouses, and it's usually a further out time during that time. So when we see it go into the available column, that's when we start our clock and we keep it at that first price for in the 4 week test, we keep it at the first price for a week to see if it'll sell during that week at that price. But we don't start the test until then because then we're competing on time and price, and we're just not going to win that battle. Why would we settle for that? So
And
that's when we start. What do you think, Jim?
yeah, Amazon's clock starts, I believe, too, when it's made available. So for long-term storage fee purposes, they don't start the clock
Yeah.
when you send it to them. They start the clock when it's available. Um, but for that, early inventory, I can't say that I know for sure when the clock starts ticking from a long-term storage fee vantage point. Do you happen to know the answer to that question? Did my question make sense, Robin Joy?
Yeah. Yes. You have to have 30 days. You have to be in stock for 30 days before they start charging that. But I'd have to look for sure. I don't think it starts until they have your inventory received, but I can't say that for positive.
Michelle's raising her hand. Yeah, what's on your mind, Michelle? You're
Hey,
muted.
Michelle.
I so how I know it takes a while for everything to become available. But I'm just wondering if I should be concerned. We sent in a shipment April 20th
Mhm,
and it got split up to different fulfillment centers
mhm.
and nothing is available yet. Um, and so in the inventory, hang on, I want to make sure I'm saying the right thing. In the inventory ledger, it shows as like, you know, in the different warehouses, but the products are not available. They're not for sale yet. Shipment is closed. I'm just not sure if that's normal.
It's not abnormal. It's
Okay.
typical of what we'd see around Q4 as normal. This time of year, it's fairly unusual, but not outside of reason. But you
Okay.
can open a case and ask for the status. Hey, what's going on? And they can see a little more than you can. And you'll get an agent who'll probably pretty quickly tell you exactly what's going on with those.
Okay.
Odds are, you know, like 5 minutes after you take the time to
Of
call in and open
course.
a case, they'll go live. It's just like the timing will be perfect, right? It's
Okay.
kind of like throwing something away that you've had for years. And
Right.
the
And
next
then you
thing
need
you
it.
that literally happened to me last week. It's probably going to be something like that where if you just waited, it was all going to work out anyway. Like doing nothing would have been better than spending time pursuing it. But a month plus, yeah, I'd probably go ahead and take a peek at it. Um,
Okay.
but
And I can just search how to open a case and it'll walk me through it.
yeah, if you
Okay.
never have, go
Okay.
ahead, Robin Joy.
Oh, I was going to say, just go to the help button there and it'll in the upper right-hand corner, it'll take you to the place you need to be. I was going to say, check also, is it showing available in your manage all inventory page?
In my what page? I'm sorry.
It's called manage all
All
inventory.
inventory. Let me check.
Uh-huh. The reason I ask is because sometimes I've seen that it doesn't show available to me to buy
Mhm.
as within the prime window within 48 hours. But if I change to like Seattle as a buyer, then it does show available. So it might just be in a warehouse that's far away from you and it's not available to you, but it's available to other people.
Oh no, I'm using the manage all inventory to determine what's and that's what's saying they're not available.
You could
Are
check
they
the listing
showing in
also and see if
reserve?
she's actually on the listing. If you can go and check the listing and just see if you're on the listing also. It's
I did that on one because I actually made a sale. I guess it was that in stock Head Start thing because I
Mhm.
made a sale, but then I got a return because they said it was too long, for the
Yeah.
delivery, whatever. So I went and checked, and yeah, I've got like 14 inbound, and then it shows I only have one available or something weird like that.
Well, it sounds like a little more complicated. You might just want to
Okay,
open a case and see if
I will.
somebody can help you out. Is there an automated way to be informed that a product is now available other than scanning your catalog every day?
I mean, I don't know of a way to know besides looking at your available
I think you,
inventory.
yeah, I think you should be at the very least looking at your inventory in age order to see if anything's getting older. So I would be catching it that way. But I mean, you do get emails saying um, your shipment has been received or completed, or it's been received, it's in receiving. I'm not sure the different stages, but you get stages of the shipment itself in email. but I don't know of a way to trigger that specifically for a specific ASIN.
No, I'm pretty sure one of the benefits of having a service such as Gatita set up
Mm.
on your account, and now my team uses them, but I don't know if this is a feature or not. It's free. It's a free service. Basically, they find lost inventory and funds that Amazon owes you, and any of those little reimbursements. They find it for you automatically, and they keep a small percentage of that. I think the first $400 are free if you use our community link. silentjimdotcom/reimburse is the link. But they'll monitor and say, okay, this never got received. It's been a while. They'll just monitor those lost inventory, those reimbursements that are due to you. So you don't have to constantly try to figure out if Amazon didn't do something they were supposed to do. A service like Gatita will monitor that. I'm pretty sure that's one of the features they have built in is monitoring for lost, missing inventory and reimbursing you on it.
I see you were reading that long question, so I hope you got that.
Yeah,
I was
I
trying to
did.
talk so you could read the question.
I can summarize a good question from Teresa. Basically, some inventory did go missing, and she has a service hooked up to help her monitor and investigate that. But it didn't necessarily catch it for her. But the question they had was, "Hey, did you open a case?" And she couldn't open a case because Amazon had already said that they've counted it and everything's clear. So basically, Amazon is saying, we only got 15 units and case is closed. And the seller's saying, I sent you 20 units and I've got an invoice that proves that. And in those cases, we use Jeff Schick and we get those resolved by using, we've got him on retainer. He is a great sponsor of this community, helps a lot of us. I would say hundreds of us in this community use his services for a few dollars a month. And that's the kind of thing where if Amazon has lost some inventory and it's an easy trail to track down. You've got the invoice and you can see the weight of the box, for example. You provide the evidence. That's the nice thing about having an actual lawyer send a letter and say, hey, my client sent this many units. So he can make things happen that sometimes the services that are automatic don't necessarily um, pursue and go after. So yeah, there's that. So if you have lost inventory, and I can say, Amazon does have a bit of reputation, like stuff goes missing and lost and all that. But for us, I mean, it comes up a couple times a year and it's resolved. So I sometimes look at the people who are like, "Oh yeah, every day Amazon loses half my stuff." I'm like, "Really?" Like I just don't I don't that's not the reality for the vast majority of the sellers I know and I'm talking to. It's frustrating when it does happen. And absolutely it's something you want to get on top of, but it just doesn't happen that often for us. I think if you're weighing all your boxes and you can provide the invoices and say, "Hey, this is how many we sent you. This was the weight of the box. You guys received the box that weighed the same amount. What's going on here?" You can get reimbursed 95% of the time. These things resolve. Sometimes it does take persistence. Sometimes you are going to have to end up using a service like Jeff Schick, especially if it's a more expensive, shipment and you're wanting to uh, make sure you get covered. But the best example for my inventory, I think we bought like 10 or 12 of those sound bars and they cost me like, I don't know, $250, $300, something like that. And I was selling for close to 500 plus. And Amazon somehow lost all of them. And uh, they looked for a while, couldn't find them, and they just paid me as if they'd all sold for $500. And I'm sure they ended up in somebody's liquidation lot somewhere, right? And I'm okay with that. That's my experience typically with dealing with Amazon when they lose things, is they take care of you, but you do have to provide proof that you sent them what you claimed you did, which again, form of an invoice, receipt, and the weight of the box is a big one for me. Like sometimes Amazon says, "Oh, we received an empty box." I'm like, "What did it weigh exactly?" Do you happen to have that little label that said the weight
Yeah.
on it? Because there's no way an empty box weighs 48.7 pounds, and you end up winning that way too.
Yeah, she says she's gonna go get hooked up with Jeff now. So I
Excellent.
think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's
Another
not expensive. He really takes care of our
Yeah,
community.
yeah, yeah, he does. He's a good guy.
I would say, well, what about this, Jeff? And he'd beam me right back to that same, but what about this? What about that? What about these guys? Nope, nope, nope. If they're putting on a pallet and wrapping it in wrap and there's a bunch of different products in there, nope, every time. if there's a warehouse full of pallets with randomly wrapped stuff involved and they're sending it in for you, no, 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 no. You're going to lose your account at some point, get your accounts frozen. Don't do it. I know people have been doing it for a few years, but at some point, their account will be frozen and they'll be in deep trouble because one of those brands is going to say, no, we don't trust those guys. And that'll lock your whole account up and you'll be trying to get your funds for 18 months with a frozen account. Don't do it. Where you buy your inventory is a big deal. Every Walmart, every Target, every Costco, every Walgreens, every CVS, all those big retailers, they don't sell illegitimate inventory. Those are all completely safe. But some of the places like TJ Maxx is a decent example, Robin Joy, where they sell a lot of legit brands, but they also will do some clearance and liquidation and get that mixed in. So some of the brands they sell, they're not authorized to sell. So it's a yes, maybe sometimes. Ask the brand. That's the 3-word answer. Ask the brand. If you haven't asked the brand yet, don't ask me. Go ask the brand. Brand will tell you. How's that? That's one of my soapbox issues. I got about 15 of them.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. This is why when we're starting out with new people, when you're new, you don't have to get that creative. Use the ones that you already know and trust as sources. Walmart, Walgreens, uh, Target, Kroger, whatever those sources are that you already would know and love and trust, use those to get started. You don't want to take any chances until you get that account health
It's
built
just
up.
not necessary. There's so much good stuff. I mean, your local Walmart has just loads of great product that can be sold at the right prices against the right ASINs once you understand the replen system.